Greetings and salutations, and welcome to take number 5 of this episode of the Rant Squad. I am the water dog, totally exhausted. This is
Clint Jordan.
And this is
still looking for Mark Andrews.
Brendan Menard. We are now doing our fantasy standouts for you, brother. This is for your fantasy forecast. Who should you be putting into your starting lineup? And we are going now at our standings. And Brendan, you're just winning everything lately. What the heck is going on here, man?
When you got it like this, it's hard, man.
He's winning everything but the actual fantasy.
That is the truest thing you could say, man. That is the I should start waiting for my picks.
You can win the predictions, you just can't win the game.
You need to start playing daily DFS, Daily Fantasy Sports.
Man, I'm telling you.
So Brendan's in first. He's at 12 points. He had a great week last week. He picked the 2 number 1 players last week. He got the number 1 receiver in Nico Collins and the number 1 running back in Derrick Henry. So he was able to get 3 points special for each of those picks. So a big 6 points. Tossed him into first place at 12 points. I'm sitting at 8, and then there's Clint at 6. Let's do it. We're going to get things started. We're going to give the number 1 guy the first shot. IDP. Who do you got, brother?
This week on IDP, I'm going with Fred Warner. Linebacker for the 49ers are playing the Arizona Cardinals. And I think he did really good last week. I want to say he got a pick 6. And I think against Arizona, you know, we've seen what the Commanders were able to do to him last week. I think the 49ers are going to come out. And I think he could have a really big game and possibly another interception this week. And I want to say he leads with 2 picks as far as linebackers already this season.
Okay. Clint, who you got?
I wanted to find a defender that has been good, consistent, but hasn't really had the BAM game. And I feel like that's Logan Wilson, the linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think there's a good chance that Baltimore could run the ball a lot like they have been. I mean, they are the number 1 rushing team in the league. Logan Wilson is the anchor of that defense. And I think maybe this is the week that he maybe steps up, leads by example, makes the big play to win the game or to turn the game around. I really like to say he's been consistent around that double-digit point total every week for IDP, but I like him this week. I think he'll get it done.
All righty. I mentioned this guy when we were talking about, defensive players of the year, stuff like that, and we were going through that stuff in our September report card thing. And my pick this week is going to be EJ Speed. I'm going to go with him, brother. He is out there for the Colts. They are playing the Jaguars, and I think this could be the nail in the coffin for the Jaguars. I think they're going to lose this week. I think that's going to be it. 0-5. Doug Peterson might be out of a job after this week.
Okay.
And I think that's what's going to happen. Because I think the Colts could be ascending. I do like Flacco playing for them. I think Flacco will play this week. Okay, and so. But I think EJ Speed, we're going to give him the nod and say we got it, especially against the Jaguars right now, who just seem to be off kilter.
Right.
Let's go to tight end.
The best position.
Yeah, the position you cannot predict. Who you got?
So this is a guy started out really slow. I think he's starting to really find his footing in this offense. Some would say he's shaking it off. If you don't know this, the Eras Tour is going to New Orleans at the end of this month on the 25th, 26th, and 27th. And Travis Kelce is going to lay the groundwork for Taylor Swift's concert at that Superdome. Give me Travis Kelce, be the number 1 tight end this week, and just throw everybody off. After the slow start he's had, he's coming back to the king.
Clint?
Well, Chiefs ain't got nobody else. I put Travis Kelce. I mean, who else is he going to throw it to? Really? But I will give you an under-the-radar guy just because I was real close to picking him. I really like Pat Freiermuth. He's the only tight end in the league that's had at least 4 receptions every single week. I think if there's a surprise out there, and a guy, if he plays season long, he's probably on your waiver wire if you need a tight end start this week.
The Chicago Bears cannot run the football. Because they can't run the football, the thing that's going to be open for them more than anything else against the Panthers defense is going to be down the middle. I'm going to go Cole Kmet. I think that he's going to have a big game. I think it's going to be a touchdown. I still think the Bears lose this game, but I do think Kmet gets about 5-6 catches and a touchdown in this game. That's where I'm going with Cole Kmet.
Like it.
All righty. Let's go to running back, Mr. Brendan.
Going into this week, I liked Jordan Mason. I did. I like Derrick Henry. this week, but I picked Henry last week and kind of want to shake it up. So I don't know what the running back to me has been very consistent so far this season. That's Aaron Jones. And they're playing the Jets, and I think, the Jets I think have a good defense, but we've seen what the 49ers can do against them running the football with Mason. And I just think Aaron Jones has just been consistent at that running back position for the Vikings this year. And he doesn't have to run in the touchdown. It could be the little out routes for 5 yards that he scores on. But I think Aaron Jones could be the number 1 running back this week.
All right, Clinton, who you got, brother?
I really like a guy that's been consistent every week. He hasn't had a bust week yet, but he did have a big week a couple weekends ago, and that's Kyron Williams. He's playing Green Bay. Green Bay has given up some big games versus the run. They gave up Saquon Barkley week 1, Jonathan Taylor week 2. Last week, Aaron Jones had a decent day against them themselves. I think Kyron Williams, he has to be the focal point if you're the Rams.
He's going to get the ball again.
If you want a chance to win, you've got to get the ball in his hands, get it to him in space. Like I said, he's yet to have a bad week, and I just like him. I like Kyron Williams this week.
All right. Well, I'm going really with what I think is going to just be the best shot overall for the running backs, and that's because of who they're playing and who they have to rely on. And I'm going to go with Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason is second in rushing. He's right there behind Derrick Henry. He's played well since he's come in there. And they're playing the Cardinals, whose defense teams are just scoring.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just scoring on them. There's just so many holes on the Arizona defense right now. And so, the way Mason's running the football, the fact that he's going to get the carries, that the Cardinals have not played good defense, I got to go Jordan Mason.
So I thought that, and I like Mason. My thing about it is, I think we saw the Commanders jump early on Arizona. I think if the 49ers do that, do you take some carries away from Mason with the news about CMC possibly being out a lot later? You might want to kind of manage him a little bit differently, because now he's not a 6-week running back. He's potentially an 11-week running back, where you might save him if it is 42-7. You might start taking carries away.
If you've got a big lead, you're going to take some of your horses out if you've got a big enough lead. But if that game is still within 2 scores, which most NFL games are, you've got to keep running your horse. And right now, they'll keep him in if that's the case, because you got to remember that Mitchell's out too still, right?
Yeah.
So you still got Mitchell out, and you got Mack out, and so that's who they got.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's going to be a Jordan Mason game. So that's what I'm thinking there, brother.
Fair enough.
All right, let's do it to it. Let's go to the wide receiver position. Brendan?
In this one, I think this receiver's have a very big game, and that's going to be Amari Cooper against the Commanders. I think he was going to have a really big game outside of a penalty.
What penalty? There was no penalty on that play.
Hey, the stat sheet says there was, man. But he was going to have a really big week last week. If that doesn't get called back, I think Washington, they're going to give a few up to this guy, and Amari Cooper is going to be your number 1 wide receiver.
Man, I just want to get that on record. Brendan giving praise to Amari Cooper, the man that stopped him from winning a Super Bowl.
Listen,
God, it just sounds so good.
I don't really hate any team.
And had it been for that, not for that bullcrap call, he'd have lost again to the same guy.
This guy, I would love to trade for him just so he can't beat me in fantasy, honestly.
All right, Clint, who you got?
Man, this is one of them gut feeling picks. It don't make no sense. It really don't. He hasn't been a top, I don't think he's had a top 12 week yet. But I looked at it and I just said, man, it's kind of like Kelsey. He's been coming on. He's had a good couple weeks, and I like Drake London this week. I don't know why. I just do. I looked and I see Tampa. I think we could possibly have a high flying game. I think we would have had a really high scoring game last week had Philly had their offensive weapons.
If there's one thing that I noticed has been consistent about Tampa Bay and Atlanta, more than their offense, their defenses have been pretty good, and they have kept both those teams into all those games a lot more than you think.
Like I said,
but I think the defenses
just call it a feeling, especially if Bijan isn't 100% and they don't have their full running capability. I like London this week.
All righty. Well, we were trying to answer the question about who's going to carry the football if Jordan Mason doesn't carry it. They got Debo Samuel back, and that's where your extra carries are going to come from, right there.
Double dipping.
That's tough picking both.
And I really think this is a 3-touchdown game. And so
you better have Brock Purdy as your quarterback.
well, I think Samuel's going to get you about 40, 60 on the ground, and I think he's going to get you anywhere between 80 to 100 receiving. I think he's going to get 2 touchdowns. So
wow, that's a minimum of 120 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns.
I am looking at Mason getting 2 and Debo Samuel getting 2, and I really think that this is going to be a 49er slaughter of Arizona. But that's just me.
I agree. I just think there's so
Call me
many
a word
mouths
dog.
to feed to double dip in that offense. There just is. You know, you got Ayuk, you got Kittle. There's a lot of mouths.
Number
to
one,
double dip.
Ayuk hasn't really done much of anything. He's really been nothing this year. He's been nothing. And
when
Kittle
you think that, but when you think that this will be his game.
Well, I mean, when Debo Samuel came back last week, that's where the extra catches went to, and that's where the extra catches are going to go again. Let's do it to it. Quarterback, Mr. Brennan.
You know, I think this is Josh Allen is going to be the number 1 quarterback this week against that Houston defense. I just have a feeling. I think he's going to torch the secondary, and look, I picked Buffalo to win that game, and he has willed the Bills to victory. I think it's on paper they don't have a great team. They're receiving core. They have a good running back. He's willed them to victory. He is going to torch that secondary, and Josh Allen is going to be number 1.
You know, it almost feels like, to me, when I look at the Bills and I look at Josh Allen and I look at that team, it just reminds me of Peyton Manning and the Colts, and they have that dynasty, the Patriots, that they have to deal with. Otherwise, they would be winning more Super Bowls. And I think the Bills are in the same boat. This is a good team, and now you're dealing with the Chiefs. That's the so you're just happen to be playing in an era right now where you got this super team.
Can we get the difference of Manning broke through twice? He made 2 Super Bowls with the Colts. Will we see that with the Bills ever?
I think you can.
Oh, I know they can.
I think it's a possibility. Will they? Once again, the jury's still out on that. I mean,
The difference is, Peyton was able to get him at home. The 2 years he did great.
Well, Allen had the Chiefs at home last year, didn't they? I'm trying to think. Wasn't the playoff game in Buffalo last year?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm correct on that, but the championship games, he was able to have the home field advantage all through the postseason when they broke through.
Yeah, but they didn't lose because of Josh Allen in that playoff game.
No, I'm not saying they did.
I mean, Josh Allen played his butt off in that game. Yeah. All right. Well, Josh Allen for Mr. Brennan. Clint, who you got?
Well, I have more than a feeling. I have the stats. All right, here, because I'm also on the Josh Allen train. I am. Me and Brennan, I won't be able to make up as much ground, but there's no doubt about it. First, since week 1, I've said the Houston Texans secondary is the scariest part of that team because they're so bad. Houston, fun fact, of the 4 quarterbacks they played against this year, 3 of those 4 quarterbacks have had their best fantasy day against Houston. And then here's the shocker. Let me just read y'all this. Since the start of 2020, Josh Allen has only had 8 games where he scored under 16 fantasy points. All right, that's pretty good. Let me tell y'all about his average after those 8 games where he was under 16. Can I get a guess? Just let me
His average
after scoring under 16 points in a fantasy game.
26.
I'll go 30.
32.99 is his average. And that's without your fancy bonus scores. That is just touchdowns, yards. Y'all, 33 points.
Well, he's been the number 1 guy for the last
I
2
know,
years.
but after, that's just how good he is after a poor performance.
Oh, yeah.
He's locked in. Houston ain't got a chance in hell.
Well, mine's going to be a little bit different than y'all's because I'm thinking this is, I mentioned this when we were talking about, game picks and stuff like that. And, I'm going with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is going to rush for about 80 yards and probably rush for a touchdown. He's going to light up the field. He's going to throw about 2 touchdown passes. And this is where you can go ahead and start playing, that's a goodbye song to the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to be 1-4 after this. And then finally, y'all going to be on the water dog train going, he was right about them darn Bengals.
No.
He's darn right about them.
You cashed in your 1, I was wrong.
Kelly,
And I challenge you.
Okay, wait a week.
That's okay. They lost. The Bengals are 1-4. They're still gonna make playoffs. But listen, Kelly, there's two things I hate in this life, or I dislike in this life.
Okay.
I can't stand losing. I can't stand losing. But there's one thing that's even worse.
Oh gosh.
I hate admitting I'm wrong. So until week 17, when it's official, no, sir.
I got no problem admitting I'm wrong. I mean, admitting I'm wrong is not a problem. You just got to have some evidence and facts toward it. I mean,
You're right.
but I mean, there's no problem with admitting that you're wrong because you're going to miss out on this stuff. But that's the fun of all of it.
I guess.
These are going to be some good games next week.
I agree.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the Dallas-Pittsburgh game. I'm looking forward, to the Atlanta-Tampa Bay game. I think that the Carolina game is going to be good. So there's a lot of interesting.
Is the Vikings Jets game? Is that in New York?
I
I don't know. But
no,
I'm really
I
curious
want to. They're playing in Minnesota.
Well, I'm really curious to see Sam Darnold if he's going to go ball out against the number one defense in the NFL.
Yeah, they're playing in Minnesota. If memory serves me correct. Folks, that's all we got time for, brother. We appreciate you watching, man. We've been the Rant Squad. I am the Water Dog. This is
Clint Jordan.
and this is
Bernard Menard.
and we are out of here.